The easiest way for you to sell today is when somebody actually wants that thing before you ask them. A young person that was getting into marketing, don't do it. Because you will see shaggy in case you still decide after everything I've said that you want to do with marketing. What I would say is, first, I realized that most of the people that are marketing leaders today all started with social media management because that's like the foundation, because it's understanding how to pick a product and give it to people, right? And the fastest way is through social media. As a marketing person, and when you're special at, when you find that thing, when you start creating content, you find people that want that thing that are selling. And the fastest way to do it is to package the products for them and sell. The faster you specialize, the more respect you get, the more money you make. Because before now, you have to learn everything in marketing, but now, learn one thing, become really good at it, people know you for it, and then you can now choose, you don't realize. So there's a 5-step framework that I always use for my marketing campaigns, and that's research. Next phase is ideation, and then you execute, which is the third phase of my framework. Then I measure, which is M, and then S, which is now scale. If people come to you that they want to buy what you're selling, you sell more, you sell better, and you don't have to talk too much. So one mistake I usually get from business owners is that,
what are the marketing trends that you think that will dominate this year?
the biggest one.
Hi, Ebuka.
Hello.
Welcome to Amazing Effort with Joshua Olani.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. You've been recognized as an award-winning marketer, helping brands scale, managing large advertising budgets. But before all of this, right, I want you to take us back a bit, right? What was growing up like for you? And were there seeds of marketing somewhere that maybe led you to this point where you are?
Yeah. My growing up was very conservative, if I do say so myself. So I came from a very religious background where, we are not allowed to do specific things because you're supposed to grow up in a specific way, in the Christian way and all of that. So I didn't really have to mingle with a lot of people. So my exposure started from after university, right? So I think the very first time I had a proper conversation with a lady was in university, by year one, right? So again, very conservative, and I had a very interesting background as well, but nothing would have prepared me for marketing until after school. I didn't have any direction on what I wanted to do until school was completely done. One of my family friends that was staying with us at the time was the one that introduced me to marketing. If I was not a marketer, right now he's not a marketer, but there was a role, I was done with school, I had not gotten any job, and then I got an internship at the social media agency, and that's where everything started from.
So before university, right, you studied counseling psychology.
Yeah.
What led to deciding to study that, and how has it shaped like your marketing, psychology of people, understanding behavior? How has it like influenced your work now? Yeah.
How I got into what I studied in school was by accident. I wanted to do mass communication. Actually, in 2016, I wanted to enter school by any means necessary. So I wrote JAMB, and then I also tried to get into a diploma. I just didn't want to stay at home. So diploma both of them was for mass comm, but I didn't get up to, there's something they call, is it catchment or something like that, where you have to get a particular score to qualify for a particular course. I didn't get up to that. So I said I was just going to continue with mass communication through diploma. And then my mom had a friend that was the counseling person in Unilag at the time, and he said that, why don't I just try, get us some counseling? You know that lie where they say you can work anywhere with a certification? Like, okay, sure, by all means, let's at least, I don't have to spend so much to pay for diploma, and I can still enter school in a more way. That's how I got into guys like counselor now, and it was a different experience. What I heard was not what was happening there. Because most of the people that do what I do eventually end up in schools or, as counselors in schools and all of that. And I realized that I didn't like teaching in schools. I didn't like handling students and all of that. It was overwhelming for me, especially because during my projects, they call it's like project period where you go for like internships somewhere outside of school. CWS and all of that. Yeah, that's when I realized that no, I'm never going to work in the school. It was frustrating that entire year. But the one thing that I think helps me with marketing is that despite all of that, it's still what I read allowed me to be able to understand people a lot. So it made me most of my friendships right now came from my understanding of people through what I learned and the multiple personalities that people can have. And so that's helped me to understand how to network with my friends better, how to also be able to understand my market. So it sort of works in marketing, but it was not a core marketing function from what I studied in school. But yeah, it still added up really. It still added up.
Pretty interesting. Just like what you said, a lot of courses like that where they'll say that, oh, just do it, you can work anywhere. But then when you now come outside, you now realize that no, it's not exactly like that.
Yeah.
So leaving school and like finding your footing in the marketing space, I think you started from maybe social media managing and then to the roles where you are currently. How did you find your footing? Did you have to take courses? Because I think that there are also be young people that are trying to get into marketing. Yeah, how did you find your footing?
So one thing I would say is if you're a young person that wants to get into marketing, don't do it. Don't do it. Just go and learn UI UX or something else because you'll be shaggy. That
funny enough, UI UX now is not as smooth.
No, I don't know, but imagine you having to sell something that you did not build. Think about how crazy that is, right? So you have to find ways to make sure that this thing that this person has given me has to work, right? So, but just in case you still decide after everything I've said that I want to do marketing, welcome. You're welcome. So what I would say is first, for my own journey, right? I realized that most of the people that are marketing leaders today all started with social media management because that's like the foundation. And you know how any harness in this country is not very direct. There's no direct path on how you can
you
do
have to try out a lot of things.
So you have to do a lot of things first. And social media is like the foundation because again, it's understanding how to take a product and give it to people, right? And the fastest way is through social media. And for me, my learning was, so first of all, I'm very grateful to my uncle. I call him my uncle, right? I was in my house at the time because he put me in a company where I was able to practice. Other people don't have that opportunity. So I'll speak about it from two different angles, right? For people that don't have the privilege first to get a job and then learn on the job. And then for people like us that have the privilege enough to get a job first. So if you are not privileged to get a job first, it means that there's no mentorship over your head. It means that you have to do a lot of things from scratch and you'll be in the gutters a lot. But the one thing that I know for sure, two things rather, that has sort of changed in today's world is your ability for you to learn as fast as possible by learn as much as you can. YouTube is free. If you can afford some courses, go ahead and do that, right? But more importantly is to show up. Right now, when I started out, showing up was not really important. But right now, I see the people that get the fastest opportunities, right, for beginners are the ones that people are able to see and take a bet on, right? And so Twitter is a very amazing place to start. I've seen people start their careers from Twitter, right? From nothing in marketing. They were learning something, they showed people what they were doing. I was like, okay, let's try you, and boom, here they are today, right? So this is for people that don't have any, because it happens a lot. Right now, things are really hard. People are struggling more to get jobs because the economy is biting. So people are trying to do things in-house and outsource a lot. So if you're a social media person that wants to get into marketing or anything like that, learn as much as you can because when the opportunity comes, you have to be ready, right? So you learn as much as you can, you document your processes and then show up online. Do these three things for 3 months consistently, something will definitely come out, right? That's for people that, again, no mentorship, no job, nothing. Now for the people that have a job, which was where I was sort of into, right, you have an opportunity that other people don't have, which is most likely somewhere that's ahead of you, or the opportunity for you to have a live product to work with. Now, when you have that, you have to first of all understand how long do you want to stay here, because in marketing, the faster you specialize, the more respect you get, the more money you make. Because before now, you have to learn everything in marketing, but now you learn one thing, become really good at it, people know you for it, and then you can now choose to generalize, right? That's what I learned it took me about 3 years to learn it because, again, I was just bringing things, right? But I knew that one thing about me was understanding that the people that stayed in a particular place longer are the most valuable people. And the most valuable people in a company are people that make people money. So how can the marketing function that I'm in tie directly to revenue? That's what drove me to call digital marketing, or aka performance marketing, as the case may be today. Right. So for people that are working in a company, you don't get too comfortable. Understand how long you want to stay there. Understand what aspect of marketing you want to be really, really good at that. If people are thinking about who is good at this thing, top 5 people your name should come out. Right. That should be your path, because trust me, you will never have to apply for a job again. You would always have gigs, and you always get the best gigs as well, because again, you have specialty in something. You are better than most people at that thing, and then people know you for it.
That was like very, very powerful. Some of the things that you said that really stood out for me is like first showing up, right? You learn a lot, and also show up online. Those that will get the best of opportunities are those that are consistently putting themselves out there.
Yeah.
And again, tying whatever you do to value.
Yeah.
If like you're not, whatever work you're doing does not improve the bottom line or does not help the company make more money or save more money, then you're not like as valuable to them. If they want to reduce the number of staff now, can be part of the people that we just have to let go. But let's just stay on that a bit, right? You mentioned important things to do, learning and growing, but are there specific courses that they need to take, or what approach? Maybe YouTube, or you mentioned learning in a company and trying things out. But in terms of the technical skills itself, what would be a recommendation?
So what I'll first do is find somebody that is really good at it and follow the person. First step. Right. And I think that, especially on Twitter, I was not on Twitter for many years. I was joined Twitter last year, and I realized that people like that, especially career professionals, right? You can learn a lot just from scrolling compared to any other platform, right? So find somebody that talks about their work and you want to be like, follow them. They will show you a lot of things. They'll show you the kind of people they are watching, the kind of podcast they are listening to as well, and then you will see their thoughts. So that's like first step. Once you find those people, because me, I use YouTube a lot, right? I said something earlier. If you are able to understand what you want to do in the specialization or in marketing you want to specialize in, it allows you to narrow your search to specific need, things that you need to do. So it's not just, I want to learn marketing. I want to learn this part of marketing to do this particular thing in this company. So you see some YouTube videos that say performance marketing for SaaS, performance marketing for e-commerce, right? So find the way you want to play in marketing. And then once you're able to narrow down that thing you're looking for, you start to see like parts start to open up on how you follow. But there's no one size fits all of what course you need to take. Just once you find out what you want to specialize in, then you now start tracing the path on, what kind of people are creating content on that particular topic that are really good. And then the people that are following, eventually, so this is kind of like my own hack that I sort of use. I no longer use it anymore, but if there's like a very top person I want to get his attention, this is what I'll probably do, right? You're new, fresh out, don't know anything. First, I'm following you on Twitter or any other platform you're active on. I'm turning on your post notifications, and then I'm commenting a question. I'm not just saying, no, this is nice, this is valuable. Like, I'm asking you a follow-up question based on the thing you said. I do that a couple of times, maybe like for like 2 weeks. There's no way you will not remember my name. Once I send you a DM, there's a high chance you open it over someone that doesn't randomly messages you. Right? So that's what I've used before, and it works like mad because people like when people pay them enough attention, especially people that are on that level, right? So you're asking thought-provoking questions, they're responding to it over and over again. Once they see your name and they see it in the DM, they'll click.
Brilliant. Yeah, giving us a very small or short masterclass that young people can really take up, and it applies to, I think, more than just marketing space and any industry. Let's talk about like business owners. Over your career journey, you had to work with businesses, help them drive value, either scale, make more money. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you think that business owners mostly make in trying to sell online?
If we go into this, we'll not leave it, but I'll just try and make it short, right? First, business owners, especially the ones in Nigeria, are very proud people. I said this before on one of my videos. They build something that they think is the best in the world. But more often than not, it may not be. More often than not, I believe almost everyone in this room has probably bought something online that they regretted. But that business owner have literally sworn that nobody in this world has a better product than I do. So the mistake they usually make first is they take they take a product that is not ready to a marketing person. Marketers are seen as magicians. With the fact somebody say, Merlin, you're supposed to do magic, right?
And make it happen.
But the truth is, the easiest way for you to sell today is when somebody actually wants that thing before you ask them. If people come to you that they want to buy what you're selling, you sell more, you sell better, and you don't have to talk too much. So one mistake I usually get from business owners is that...
Hello, sorry for the break. I know you're enjoying the episode. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please just hit the subscribe button, click the like button, and also leave a comment. Share it to friends and family. It goes a long way to help the channel. You can get right back into the video.
They don't verify that this product is what the market wants today. It's what they feel
you want to put out.
And more often than not, zero. Right? So an approach for them when I mention a problem, I'll try and talk about how to solve it, right? So I'm a business owner as well. I create products, and there's one thing I usually do. If nobody has paid for it before that product has been created, it's not a worthy product. What do I mean? Because obviously I'm in the creator economy, so I do digital products. Before I create the product, somebody has already bought it. That verifies the fact that people actually want this thing than just creating something and hoping that they buy it.
So bought the product from you or from someone
From
else?
me.
Okay, from me.
So what I mean by that is generating demand and generating willingness to pay. What do I mean? As good as ChatGPT is today, how many people are actually paying per month on the platform? Right? So people can really love a product, but when it's time to pay, they turn a blind eye. So what do I usually do? Once I verify that somebody can pay for it, and how much that thing costs and now build. How can a business owner use this, right? You poll your audience. Either you poll your audience, find out if they're actually going to buy the thing, or you check what competitors are doing and what are they selling. So can I compete with them based on margins or all of that? So the cocoa here is business owners should do more research before they launch anything. That's one. Two, branding is incredibly important. A lot of people come to marketers and say, I want to make 1 million, but nobody knows who you are, right? I'd rather you do like a breakdown, like a split of maybe 50% or 60% to core performance marketing and 40% to brand. Performance marketing is ads, direct outreach, all of those things, and then 40% to actually building your brand, because people buy from people, not brands. Most brands that have the best today are the ones that are the most relatable. So how can you create content? How can you, build out stuff that people would identify you with your brand, right? For whatever niche. So you have done your research, you already have this in place. In that time, your branding is strong. When your ads will be cheaper, everything you're doing is cheaper because you're not the first time they're seeing you is not you come and buy. If this is the value I'm
very
giving.
solid foundation.
Exactly. So foundation is really important for business owners. So once you do that, it's now time to scale your operations, scale your customer service, all of that. But research, ensure you have a good foundation for your branding, and then run your ads. Once you run your ads, every other thing will start to come into play as well from a scaling perspective.
You mentioned something, the importance of having the product that people want to buy first before you now try to even sell it to other people. And then understanding your customers, creating a product that is really good. I think a lot of business owners most times don't even understand the power of getting the right data first from their people before they now go out to make ads to try and sell what they want. So what are the simplified ways that business owners can use to get data and then make the most of their data to even use to either improve their product or have the right product that the market really wants for them to now try to sell more to?
First step is building a relationship with your customer. People buy, I find it very funny that I'll buy, especially for things that people buy again and again. For instance, my mother laughs at me when I tell her I order Agbalimo online, right? But she doesn't understand that I was sold to it was a no-brainer for me to continue to use that brand, because the moment I bought from them, they called me. Was it sweet? Was it good? How many people like it? Because obviously
that's something that a lot of business
owners do not do.
They don't check back. Once you buy
once they collect your money like this,
they're good.
Gone. Once they collect your money, that's the end. Bye-bye. So the businesses that are able to get actual feedback are the ones that have a relationship with their customers. Because it's that feedback that will tell you what you should build next, and if there's any problem with the product that you sold to them. For instance, the second batch I bought from her was not as sweet as the first one. And then she explained that, something happened and the next one will be better. So if there was no relationship between me and the customer and the business owner, I will not buy again because it was not sweet. It was not as good as the first experience, so I'm going, right? So you have to first of all create that experience with your customer such that they are able to reach out to you and say, hey, this is the experience I had with my product. That way you can ask them what can be better, and they will tell you. I feel like a lot of business owners today should first of all create that relationship and then ask questions. Business owners don't ask their customers questions. They just try to guess what they want. Ask them, I'm trying to launch A and B. Which one would you prefer? Once they answer, you give them a discount and send it to them. That way, so you have to find interesting ways to always ensure that you're getting feedback from people that are actually buying from you. And if nobody's buying from you yet, you already know that you have to get people to buy from you first before you do something else. So the next thing that I always get after I ask a question as well is, I don't have a customer yet. How can I do this, right? I said it before. If you are trying to enter an industry, you are not the first person to do it. So when I ask people, how are your competitors? I don't have any competitor. No, who compete with me? Never. But you have competition, right? Either you have direct competitors or adjacent competitors. What do I mean? Nescafe or Seaway Water. You'll be imagining that competitor is Emma, but no, the competitors are pure water users. So while it's not a direct competition, it's adjacent, and it still matters because people will buy pure water instead of a product. So what makes you you have to always find the balance, ensuring that the data you're getting is for both direct competitors and the ones that use as alternative to your product. That allows you to strike a balance on how much you're going to be, costing on that product, and then what you're bidding as well. So once you find a particular cluster of people that are selling something, you want to find out how to make yours better and then put it out. Because again, you don't have anything at that time, so you might have to spend some money on ads. So the people that spend money on ads first are the ones that, they are unable to build a base, and they have to get that customer as fast as possible. So but I don't usually advise it, but if you are somebody that needs money today, you're trying to, scrunch the time together, instead of using your data, you can use other people's data and, get started from there. That's how I'd like to say it.
Like you said, like so many powerful stuffs that I think business owners will really find very valuable. So commonly, people would always like mix or confuse or not be sure of the exact time that they should spend on ads and when they should spend on maybe more organic ways of reaching out to their customers or building their brand. What do you think is the right way to go? When is the right time for companies or brands owners or business owners to spend effort or spend money on ads, or when they should just try to maybe build communities, try to get their customers as organically as possible?
So I'd say that there should never be a time where you're not doing organic efforts. That should be something that will be ongoing for life, right? But what I would say is when it comes to ads is the moment you have something called product market fit, you should start to run ads, right? So what does it mean? It means that your product has found its own community by itself without you doing too much, right? Just like, for instance, people would like to take Agbalmo. So who is the person that can deliver that experience to me? That is good because Agbalmo already has bad PR. It's expected to slap you. So then you find something that doesn't slap and it's the brand that to do this. There's retention because you're going over and over again as long as it's in the season, right? So once you have found that this is a product that somebody has bought from you, you can start investing in ads because Meta is, or whatever platform you're using, is smart enough to find patterns of similar people that can buy that thing that you've also put out there, right? So again, organic marketing should not stop. Ads should start as soon as somebody starts buying from you. That is the short answer to that.
Okay. Just then, organic should not stop. Okay, well, in terms of like organic now, what are like the most productive ways or organic marketing that you think that are working for brands currently?
Well, so my marketing doesn't really have so much to do with organic, but I have an idea about what that looks like, right? So for organic marketing, right, it's content heavy, right? Once you solve people's problems over and over again, start asking what you're selling, right? So people like Gary Vee, people like Alex Omozi that have like massive engines of content going out for them, eventually you start to look for what they're selling. And the day that you eventually find that thing that they're selling, you shut up, give me. Like, don't talk, just give me. Don't say anything again. I've heard enough, just give me the thing, right? So for organic marketing, it's a lot heavy on content, right? You have to create specific pillars that solve specific problems for your target market so that they come to you as a solution to that problem before they even think of buying anything. That way, it just makes everything easier for you as a business owner. So I see business owners that have not posted anything in like weeks, and I'm like, what are you doing, right? So for business owners, you have to be, the more volume you get, the more volume you're able to post, the more you're able to find patterns of what is working and then double down on it. So most of the organic efforts today have to be content driven. Whether you're going out there to interview your users or potential customer, like what Ashakan does, he just takes people, random people, and then speaks to them, or you're creating content pieces across Instagram and TikTok, anything, but content is incredibly important. But it's not just talking about your business. It's how can I drive value for the person that will be buying this thing. So even if it's not directly selling something, as long as it's something that is related, what do I mean? If you are selling wedding rings, for instance, you cannot just be posting about rings. You can start posting about weddings, start posting about families, posting about things that relate to the emotions that drive that particular thing you're selling. And eventually, when it's time to buy, because over time they've seen you deliver value consistently, it makes no sense that to follow you because they trust you enough. So yeah, trust is like the currency right now, and the only way right now is through content.
Let's now go to your core now. That's the inorganic or ads currently.
Yeah.
Within the last like 2 years, what is this trend like? Which maybe platforms or which strategies are working best in achieving results with ads?
Yeah. So I'll speak on to two parts, right? So first, I'm known more for application marketing. So people that sell applications for products. So tech companies that need applications to go for installation, usage, transaction, all of that. That's kind of where I shine. I've also been able to work with e-commerce businesses as well, right? So I'll speak on both hands because I don't know who's watching this, maybe on any of these buckets, right? So for people that are my 9 to 5, which is application marketing, I will not call my channel so that you will not compete with me. However, I'd say that you should have an experimentation mindset. You should be able to think, instead of just following the trend, try channels that nobody is on. That's one thing I've learned. So once I find that people are everywhere, no, I don't want to be there. I want to be where my users would be, but people will not be looking at that particular channel. I will not call many because, you guys already know how I feel about Snapchat, but yeah, I didn't tell you anything, but do with this information what you please. Right? But yeah, you should be able to discover channels that your users are on, that your competitors are not looking at. That's the way you'll be able to drive costs down and get a lot of value out of that channel. But yeah, the usual Google. I've particularly not seen Meta perform very well for applications. It used to perform very well in the past, but even competitors today are not even using Meta for direct ads because it's more primed towards e-commerce businesses than applications. In fact, the process of setting up an application on Meta is very tedious. You have to go through a lot of approval processes and you can get banned. But there are channels that are out there that allows you to be more flexible and still drive better results. So Google, other ones as well. For e-commerce businesses, Meta is king. Everybody knows that in the e-commerce space. But TikTok too has started to do pretty well as well. So if you are able to sell on Meta, there's a very high chance that you can also sell that product on TikTok as well. So the core of everything I'm saying today is you have to have that mindset to test things. You should not be thinking about one direction only because you would always lose out on that. When you test, you find out a lot of interesting things that you never knew was possible. In fact, my mind has been blown consistently over the years just because I'm happy to try something new, right? I understand that when you are spending a company's money, you always want to be safe because you want to always make profits. However, if you're a professional and they trust you enough, they should be able to allow you to run some tests, especially when over time you've shown that you know what you're doing, right? Because I get it. A lot of companies will say, no, we want to make X, Y, Z. And if you're saying you want to take out a particular amount of money to test, it might not make a lot of sense. That's why, again, if you've been able to prove yourself as a marketer, and over time they know that they can't that from day one you're testing, they will give you leg room to do what you want to do, right? So the bulk of everything I've said right now is whatever marketing you're doing, whatever paid marketing you're doing, that channel that you're using, you might probably find something better out there only if you test.
And experiment out multiple stocks. And you can find patterns and see the ones that will really work best. You had mentioned earlier that you're also a creator, and currently the creator economy is growing. There are lots more creators out there now. What approach do you think that creators should be taking to like market their product? Although a lot of them have followers, but some of them are having product that sometimes they are not able to get their followers to still buy from them, and some are just even starting their content creation journey and they also want to maybe sell product in the future or just market themselves to get more followers or more audience. What marketing strategies should creators be adopting now?
So I'll begin. I don't know, for some reason I always have like two different people in mind when you ask the question, right? So I'll speak to myself that like I obviously work in 9 to 5. Some of you know where I work here watching this video, but I'll speak to marketers that want to start content creation and business owners that are creators already and want to sell, because I realize that a lot of business owners have amazing personal brands, but when it comes to their businesses, they struggle. There's a very simple reason for that, really. The people that are following your personal brand, they don't care about your business. They care about your person.
For you.
Exactly. So it might be a very hard pill to swallow because, oh my God, I spent so much time building this audience. Why are they not buying? The truth is they will not buy because that's not why they're there. So the fact that I'm posting, I see some creators collaborating with their business pages is annoying to the person that's following it because why am I seeing this? This is not what I mean. And then sometimes they unfollow, right? So either you brute force them and then the ones that will go, the ones that will stay, or you do the painstaking work of separating your brand from a person, which might be hard, but again, it's very important at this point because again, if people that are following you, you just wake up tomorrow morning and start a business and it doesn't align with why they followed you, there's going to be conflict on your brand and business. So move yourself from it, right? But it still does not mean that I cannot infuse your personality into your business, but let it be for the people you are trying to solve. Interestingly, the people that follow you on that page might not even like your personal brand, right? Because you're solving a problem for them. So think about it from that perspective. The reason why I started this brand and the reason why I started my personal brand are very different. So don't treat them as one. Treat them for what they are, right? And then you see a lot more success from there. Then for business owners or marketers like myself that want to start content, I didn't realize how profitable the creator economy was until last year. When I changed houses, I started to double down on like selling my product, and there's so much money in digital. Like I used to hear it, but for corporate people like us, it's insane. What should you do instead? So now some people might be wondering how I'm able to combine everything. It's very simple. First, you have to ensure that your company would allow you. If you work in a company that doesn't want you to, have any other thing you're doing except from that one, if you do it, you lose your job. And don't come and say, Ebuka said you should do it. I not tell you to do that one. So first of all, look at your company documentation. Yeah, what are they saying about specific things? So for PiggyVest, they allow you to do things that will not affect your job. What do I mean? You will not say because you're working in a tech company or a finance company, you're not going to be taking gigs from a competition. It does not make any sense, right? So look, again, if you're not sure, ask your HR, what do people think about, I think they call it moonlighting. I'm not really sure what that is, but if you are unable to, do that, you might have to face your reality right now. Or if you say, you know what, you take it better yourself and resign, I'm not, again, everybody should do what works for them, but if your company does not allow you to do it, don't give yourself a headache by trying to sneak around because they'll catch you and it'll be messy. Right? So, but if your company allows you to do it in a well-controlled manner, I think that, again, I said something in the beginning of this conversation that you should always, as a marketing person, find what you're special at, right? Because once you find that thing, when you start creating content, you find people that want that thing that are selling. And the fastest way to do it is to package the products for them and sell. When people say make money in your sleep, that's literally what it makes like. Because once you make it once and then put it out there, you don't have to sell it again. Once people see it and they like it, they buy it, and then you'll be seeing your notifications, boom, 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 boom.
Keep coming.
Money is coming in, right? So for, again, marketing people, find out if your company will allow you to do it. If they would, it's going to be very hard. I promise you, some days I sit down and I make like 20-something videos. Social media, my dad, I'm like, obviously, I'm tired. I have work that I'm doing, right? So you have to find a way to make it work. It's going to be very hard. I promise you, it's probably going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. But once you're able to set it up, I'm doing this for like 2 years plus. Once people already know you for something and you launch anything and they buy it, you'll be very, very glad that you did, because you make it, I'm not even joking, you make it a lot of money once they know you for something and they trust you.
So much you've actually shared, and so much like to gain from what you shared. Find out if your company wants it allows you to do it. Take your time to know what you want to do and just put in the efforts. It's going to require a lot of work, serious work. But once you can get it going and your people already trust you, they trust your brand, whatever product you keep on pushing out, once they start buying, it's just going to be there.
Yeah, keep just going from there.
Generate.
Also, sorry, something that I left out, right? When I started, I was doing everything by myself. Right now, I have a team, right? So that allows me to now hands off and just, before when it's time before now, whenever my content is about to finish, I don't have to manually check. But now they tell me like a week before that, we have just 2 videos left, so please plan to shoot. It makes it easier when you can now set up properly and start to delegate, because you can now sleep and close your eyes than having to be always panicking. Oh, I'm going to have to shoot content, whatever. So delegation and structure will come in after you've been able to do it by yourself, because that's when you now know what you really want. So when somebody comes in, they're entering a system that you have built, not controlling the system that they have built for you. Right? Because eventually it becomes a system, and I had to usually create an agency, do all the documentation, because when I started asking, so the people right now out there that execute for me in my name that I have sort of trained already. Does that make sense? But yeah, so that way I don't have to do too much anymore. I just work with,
focus on the core of what you want to really put. I think that's something that a lot of creators or people even take for granted most times, because we are really in love with the work. In love with the work, you want to do everything by yourself, the research, the creating the content, the editing. But once you create a structure, it becomes much easier and it's sustainable.
Yeah.
It can stay for long. It can last way longer, right?
Yeah.
Marketing within Nigeria. So there are a lot of maybe creators or business owners that have products that they want to sell to people beyond just the 4 shores of Nigeria, maybe Africa and even around the world. What strategies do you usually take when, let's say, you want to push a product or push a particular brand or something
outside of the country?
Yes, outside of the country.
That's a very good question, because most of the Nigerian marketers that have come to me with problems trying to market outside of Nigeria is when they try to do what is working here. There. Or let's say selling to Nigerians in a diaspora, it doesn't make sense for you to do what will happen to Tunde to a Clark or a Benson, right? So the first thing you need to understand again, so there's a 5-step framework that I always use for my marketing campaigns, and that's research, which is the most important one, right? I try to find out what is happening in this country I'm trying to market into. What are other brands doing? What is the language, right? What is the messaging like? More often than not, it's not what I'm used to. In fact, we've had to call specific people in that country to ask them, just talk to me about how does it work there? What are the things? What are the slangs you guys use? What are the manners of approach to specific things you guys have? So that it allows me to put context into what I'm trying to do. But if you do copy and paste, more often than not, you will fail. So when you're trying to run a particular campaign for anywhere outside of the country that you're in, you go through that period of research where you understand what exactly is happening in this market. Then it goes to E, which is the next phase of which is the next phase of my process, right? So research, next phase is ideation, right? In ideation, now that I understand what the market is saying, what message am I putting together based on that research, right? What kind of ads, for instance, am I creating? Am I using videos? Who am I using in those videos? What are they saying, right? So all of those things come in the ideation phase, and then you execute, which is the third phase of my framework, which is E. So in the execution, what am I running? Is it an influencer campaign? Is it an outreach campaign? Is it an offline campaign? All of those things, that's when it happens in the execution phase. Then I measure, which is M. So what is the effectiveness of this campaign after I've executed it? What am I learning? What are the metrics I need to gather from this? And then, which is the final thing in my process, S, which is now scale. So I found what is working. I measured it properly. It's driving business growth. How can I scale this to the money? And then go back to phase one, which is research. So it's basically a constant loop, right, until you are done with that engagement completely.
I think that's a brilliant breakdown. Research first, and then ideation, execution,
measurement, and then scale.
And then scale. That's such a great framework that anyone can just steal and start to
feel free to steal it.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so working with very big brands, you had to work with very large budgets. What are like the frameworks that guide your decision making when you're like responsible for very big amount of spend?
So first, I take a breather. I don't spend anything yet because sometimes it can be massive. If you give me 10% of some of the monies I've spent, I'll never work again in my life. I'm not even joking, right? Companies spend a lot of money. So first thing, my own process is first of all understanding what we're trying to achieve, right? So for instance, somebody can say, oh, I want awareness and sales. So if you want awareness and sales, I have to think about how am I breaking this down to ensure that I'm able to meet both objectives effectively. So if you want awareness, you want sales, I ask you to what effect, right? Do you want more awareness or more sales? So once I understand what you're again trying to achieve from both ends, and I start to think about what platforms should the budget be going to, right? So even for where I work right now, I understand that no matter how much I get, there are specific platforms that will get more than the others. It's just how it works, right? So when it comes to that allocation, once I'm able to set that up and things start running, the next thing for me is to start to measure what's going on. Most times I always take an agile approach so that I can change things based on what I'm seeing. So say I predict maybe, for instance, Meta to do like 20%, Meta does like 50% in what I'm doing. It's the no-brainer for me to now shift budget accordingly, right? So the mistake I see marketers make when it comes to budget setting is, oh, this is what I want to, like, marketers can be very rigid people. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. As how? You see, so you have to always be ready to quickly adjust. In fact, take that hard turn, hit that break, and then, sit back and say, what's happening here? And then react, because it will happen a lot, especially in my line of work. You try something and everything spoils from day one. And I'm like, what's going on? So the ability for you to really slow down and get back on track is what will differentiate you from somebody that is a beginner or someone that is a pro.
Take your time. Don't just like rush to start spending. Decide what you want to spend and the right platforms to actually work with, right? But I still want to get your opinion on platforms, right? How should businesses choose the right platforms to play in? And are there platforms that maybe give people more results even when they have small amount of spend?
That's a very fantastic question. So there's something I offer business owners called clarity sessions, where for 1 hour both of us will talk about your business and then we'll find what's going on and diagnose and present solutions. One thing that I learned from Alex Omozi, which was very interesting, I used to use it before, but I didn't understand why it was. I only use one channel until it's good enough to move to the next. What do I mean? I'm launching a business today, for instance. I see business owners that want to be everywhere at once. It's not going to work because you're going to spread yourself too thin. So what I sort of use as a metric is, where do I find two things? First, the most amount of my potential customers and the most amount of my potential customers that can buy what I'm selling. So one thing for you to have, for instance, for TikTok, if you have, maybe you're selling real estate now, for instance, I'm not shading any platform. I use a specific platform for it that has more people, but are potential customers there or just people that are interested? So once I'm able to find both, that's where I start. And then once I'm able to set it up properly and things are running on autopilot, I can now, what's the next best channel after this one? For instance, if you are a business owner that sells e-commerce, right, direct sales, the no-brainer is Meta, because that's where you find volume and intent. Once you set up Meta properly, such that you're spending enough and it's printing you enough money month on month, and start maybe TikTok. Well, I see people launch Meta, TikTok, Snapchat at once, and they're like, how do you want to grow? And most times it's just you or maybe one other intent. And you're wondering why things are not moving quickly. This will never move because you're spreading yourself too thin. So conquer one channel first, think of your next one, conquer that one, and then keep going from there. They are the most, what people don't realize about this is that when you conquer one channel well, it will be easier to do others. What do I mean? If you are an Instagram person or you are someone on Instagram that's an influencer, if you open a YouTube channel, you get followers faster than somebody that started from YouTube and then came to Instagram. You see what I mean? So conquer one channel first, own it, and then spread across others, and then you see much better result that way.
Great result. So for young people, young marketers that are still growing in their career, a lot of them are like dreaming to work where you're working currently or dreaming to work with very, very big brands. What do you think they should be doing currently for them to like really get those opportunities they are praying and hoping to get?
Name of the game is positioning. One big brand recently wanted to hire me, picking for me and working, and they said no. I told them no, that obviously I could not leave where I'm working right now. So they said, how can they find? I should help them find somebody that can do what I am doing. And the first place I looked was Twitter. I reached out to, I just dropped a random tweet. I'm looking for XYZ person. If you are good on that level, specific things to do before you reach out to me. Don't reach out to me just because. And then every single person that reached out to me had good positioning. So if you want to work with big brands, are you positioned to work with big brands? Or is it just wishful thinking? Now, when the brands are looking for you, are you where you can be found? What do I mean? LinkedIn, Twitter, what are you talking about on there? Or are you just consuming? So you cannot, at this point, before, unless you are a Nepo baby, before now, maybe things would have been significantly easier, but brands now search social media before they even hire. So that one edge that might put you ahead of somebody is what you literally just said online. So marketing people, I know that sometimes they're like, oh, I don't want to talk about my work and everything. That's absolutely fine. But what are you seeing outside of your work? Because I've seen what you even see outside of your work impact your work. Because if you go and you say something insane online, that's the end, right? So
backfire.
I'd always advise, if you know you want to be unhinged, just have a burner account. Because your main profile is going to be your main profile for life. So position yourself properly such that you are really good at that thing you're trying to apply for. And let your personality online be one that brands can work with, not person is going to give us problems. So once you do those two things effectively, now you apply, you stand a higher chance to get those jobs that you're looking for.
So there's no hope for introverts. I want to say, I don't know how to speak. I can't speak consistently.
So I thank you for that. I always have a counter to that, right? So people are like, oh, I'm shy, I can't do this. You don't have to make videos. You can write. Most of the people that, in fact, I feel like writers are more powerful because it allows you to outline your thoughts more than people that do like 1 minute, 2 minutes videos. So if you are good at writing, you cannot be good at any of them. You cannot do video, you cannot write. You go out for you go.
You need a miracle.
You go out for you. But yeah, you have to find something that you can do that is something that is natural to you. And if it's not natural, you can learn. I mean, nobody came out of the world being a content creator. We all had to go through that cringe moments first before things started to make sense.
And the more you do it, it gets better.
100%. 100%.
And I think I saw someone where shared that whatever new thing you want to start, you just be okay with failing at it or being very bad at it.
Yes.
For everyone that they are even very great at something, they started not so good and gradually they kept on improving. So big 2026, we're still first quarter. The way tech is moving, the way maybe the entire ecosystem is actually changing, the way the Nigerian landscape and African landscape is changing. What are the marketing trends that you think that would dominate this year?
The biggest one is AI. Now, in fact, if you are a marketing person and you are not on AI right now, I'm sorry, you're not going to make it because people are going to move faster than you. They're going to move smarter than you. They will get a lot more done in shorter time. I know that people have demonized AI in the past where, oh, it's going to take your brains, you will not be smart anymore. What I always say first is you have to know what you want before you use the AI, right? AI should not be your first point of contact. Because if it tells you rubbish, you should be able to say, oh, this does not make sense, and then refine, right? So AI should be an assistant, not a solution to a problem that you cannot think about solving first on your own. So AI should make things faster for you, not be the one that meets all for everything, right? So AI is huge right now. Cloud code, co-work, all of that stuff. Find how to integrate AI into your workflow. That is the major trend that's happening today. A lot of things will still, happen, but what marketing people are saying, and in fact, I have seen a lot of help because AI helps me do my data analysis, helps me to do a lot of projections and everything. So just find how to integrate AI into your everyday work, and you will have more time to think. that just having to do the manual work.
So, I mean, you mentioned two things which I want you to maybe expatiate on a bit, helping you do the data work, projections. Are there like other areas that you actively use here? Because a lot of people are always like, when you use AI, you lose that human connection. You see, we are just outsourcing. A lot of our content are supposed to be maybe relatable, context based, where people they are seeing the copy or they are looking at the video. They know that, oh, this one is human. Or like once you outsource everything to AI, it now becomes more technical. It just gives you a list of things to say, or just give you a copy that might not really land well with your audience. Like, what is that sweet spot?
Yeah, so I believe that right now it's going to take a while for AI to be as human as possible. It's very damn close right now, but that's why you are the operator, not that AI is the operator. You are the operator using AI for your work. So I still edit. You have to do multiple edits. You have to be able to look at this thing and say, okay, this does not make sense. Refine this, refine that, remove this, add that. So like you still have to put that manual input to ensure that it feels human, right? But again, AI just makes your work fast. It doesn't solve all the problems that has to do with your work, right? So somebody still needs to look at the output and see how to make it make sense, because most times it might not. Right? Especially because AI doesn't always have all the context that you have. So you as a human being needs to see how to ensure that you are always giving that context as much as possible and refining where possible as well.
Very, very powerful. So we'll take an example, right? You have maybe a business that has maybe they sell services, maybe consulting services, and you've been given maybe a budget of, let's say, 5 million to help them scale from their current point where, let's say, they have maybe a number of, let's say, 10 clients to get maybe like 100. What are like the strategies you use to try and help them make that jump?
If you have 5 million and you want to, well, anyway, I'll just try and make it very relatable, right? So first step, this is a question just to like understand this prompt. Have they already gotten any customer before? This is just a brand new thing.
They have like maybe 5 to 10 customers.
Okay, so you already have 10 customers. It means you've already achieved product market fit. What I'll probably do first is to come up with a lot of angles that I can use to test the market. So what pain points, probably might even poll my audience as well, right? Just to find out what pain points really, really affect them today. That is my marketing message. So once I find those pain points, I'm trying to look at the channels where I'll find more of them. This is as basic as it can be. It can morph into something else later on, but yeah, consulting firm, you have 5 million, you want to do marketing, you have 10 users already, what can you do? I find those pain points and may create marketing for that particular pain point, and then I run multiple tests across specific channels. So if, for instance, Meta is my channel, right, I'm going to be doing something called a lead generation campaign where I'm going to be creating maybe a lead form, or I have a landing page where people can go and take action, and then I send them through my CRM. And, I'm hoping that people that are watching this might be technical a little bit, just because I might use some technical jargons, right? So I create a lead campaign, right? Turning all the pain points that I've gotten into multiple angles or messaging with different formats. What do I mean? I might create a reel, multiple reels, and I create carousel.
What exactly would you be running?
Yes, I'm trying to break it down so that it makes sense, right? So I want to do a lead campaign today. I'll be consulting business. Meta kind of is Meta or Google, depending on the one you use, but I'll sort of use Meta first, because even right now for lead generation campaigns that I do, Meta has been working incredibly well for really niche businesses. Things that you would never imagine what Meta works for. It shocked me. It shocked the person I was doing it for. But yeah, Meta has become really smart, where everybody that are looking for is probably on Meta today. They might not just be on the level they are looking for, but they exist. You just have to find a way to reach them, right? So I do a lead generation campaign. Then once I'm able to get those pain points, I now create a campaign based on that. So I'm talking reels, maybe I'm doing founder story as the real content, or I'm doing features and benefits of my consulting, or I'm doing us versus them, whatever format I'm looking for. I try that, then I try images as well. Then maybe carousel posts just to help, solidify the entire thing. So I'm talking about 5, 6, 7 posts that are ready to go with. Again, you have 5 million. That is a very easy thing to do. You get your customers in less than 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. That I'm sure of, once you hit all of these things, because at the end of the day, once somebody sees your marketing, it resonates with them, and ready to talk to somebody that can help.
That's free game for business owners. I had to try and squeeze that out from Ebuka today. So I want one last free game before we wrap up this episode, right? There are lots of podcasts, right? Just like our own. So at what point do you think that maybe podcasts, or some people that have podcasts that want to like market, get new audience, right? At what point do you think they need to start doing a lot of inorganic marketing?
Yeah.
Yes, and what strategies would you recommend that they take?
For podcasts, it's more of partnerships actually, right? I think that podcast should not be a conversion channel. It should be an authority channel. What do I mean? You can create it. For instance, now, if I have like this podcast that we're doing, right, as an instance, if I want to promote it, I can just take like a particular snippet that resonates with my audience, and then maybe I just drive traffic to it, right? But the mistake people usually make with podcasts is that they want to use it to make sales. You should have other channels that the podcast will funnel through to them. So maybe you have a particular offer, a particular product they're able to test. The podcast can talk about the problem of that particular product and then funnel people to where the conversion won't happen. Right. So again, podcasts help you with authority building because again, we buy from people. So if you use podcasts and people see that okay, this person knows what they're doing, right, they'll go look for you somewhere else. That's why again, podcasts can never be your only channel. There has to be other channels where they can find you on, where you are doing other things, and then they cannot send a message, oh, I saw your podcast, or oh, I'm following your podcast for a while. Because again, for businesses that are able to use content to sell, you need to have short-form content and long-form content. So in long-term content, podcast is one of the most important long-form content that allows people to consume a lot more of you. So the more somebody has consumed, the more time somebody has spent with you, it's easier for them to buy from you on a different platform because they've known you, they've trusted you, they've learned a lot from you and what you're about as well. So yeah, but again, do not use podcast as the main marketing channel. It means to an end. Right? You have to understand what that end is and find a way to ensure that tracking is done so that, oh, for my video, this happened. Right, and yeah.
Once you start focusing wrongly, you just you'll be like expecting too much and not get what you ought to get.
Yeah, your podcast is not for everybody. Identify your audience, create content that works for what they're trying to solve, the pain that they have, and then you just find that they're searching your name on YouTube. So what happens, your search volume goes up on Google and YouTube, and then your organic starts to happen as well. So when somebody's searching for something similar, because you come out over and over and over again, Google start recommending your video as a search result. So things like that, but it takes a while. But once you lock in and it's in, because an SEO platform for your business or your brand, as the case may be.
It's been a very rich and enlightening conversation. I've learned so much, and I think our audience will have learned so much too. So in wrapping up, for someone that's maybe a young person, whether just starting on their career or whether they're mid-level, that are looking forward to building something meaningful, looking forward to create their own amazing exploit, right? Maybe they are currently stuck or just trying to figure things out. What are the things that you would recommend or advise them to do for them to move out of that state to achieving their own exploits?
Yeah. So I think that first of all, there's a stereotype for Gen Z people that they are not as passionate as in terms of work as people in maybe early millennials, right? So if you want to build anything meaningful, you're going to work really hard. Like there's no shortcuts, there's no cutting corner, you're going to grind, right? And there's this quote that I believe in so much, that a moving man will meet his luck. So as long as you're moving, as long as you're trying stuff, as long as you're putting yourself out there, one day the opportunity will come. And most times when the opportunity comes, will you be ready? That's what I always ask. So if you want something, you have to want it bad enough to go after that thing with all your might, right? There's no, again, the advantage that young people have is time compared to somebody that has a family and everything they're trying to do. So you have time, you should definitely utilize it. This is not just for marketing, for every other industry that are trying to grow in, right? Put yourself out there, learn as much as you can, because it might not make sense right now, but when that thing is called upon, where you come out from, you will not expect it. So devote yourself to learning, work as hard as you can, put yourself out there, you will definitely meet your luck.
Thank you so much, Ebuka. It's been a very, very insightful conversation, and I'm sure our listeners also enjoyed this particular episode. Is there any other thing that you love to maybe have shared that maybe I did not ask you?
Yeah, I mean, just follow the podcast, like, subscribe, leave a comment.
Thank you so much, guys. We're going to bring top and amazing people doing cool stuff to inspire you, to show you the ropes, to point you to the resources that can help your own amazing expert come faster, bigger, and much better. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thank you for having us.